Addiction is just a beginning of the end. But the end of what? That's up to you. It can be either a beginning of the end of your dreams of a better life, or it can be a beginning of the end of your old life. Because where one journey ends, another begins. And if you decide to keep going and not give up on your recovery, it will be a journey that will change everything for better. Let's assume that you wonder what would happen if you go down the storyline of pornography addiction. As the need for relieving the pain is increasing, you will enter different stages or chapters of the addiction. These chapters are deception or the lie, repetition, addiction, escalation, desensitization, and aggression. In theory, there could be a seventh stage, but the problem is that once you move to stage 6 and try to move beyond, pornography no longer can satisfy your needs. Thus, we can only debate whether this can still even relate to pornography addiction or this can be something completely else. Personally, I haven't found anything that involves about this seventh stage. So, before I tell you more about the stages themselves, it is important for you to get familiar with how you can even build up to it. So how does the addiction develops? There are two factors that change as the addiction is increasing. It is frequency and intensity. Frequency is the rate of PMO or the sessions you have. It's how many times you have PMO per what time. It can be, for example, once, twice, or 5 times per month, a week, a day. The intensity is the difference between your natural sexual preferences or the default preferences and your new preferences, the pornography preferences. It's the difference of how much have you moved from your default to your new preferences. There are 3 positions. There's parallel, outlying, and deviant. Parallel involves watching pornography and genres that tend to involve around your default preferences, your natural sexual preferences. This can be the soft porn, so a non-fiction and things that are related to the people you find sexually attractive. The outlying involves genres that share commonalities with your default preferences, but it tend to expand if you different genres, creating unreal scenarios and expectations. This can be, for example, watching pornography and consuming pornography that tends to involve fictional characters from movies, series, video games, cartoons, or we can even talk about an AI. We can talk about the unnatural sexual behavior, unnatural body part size, and for male, at least I know this that it can be applied to male, not sure how about female, but for male, a mix of sex parts. What does this mean? When we talk about a sexual attraction as a checklist, there's a different checklist for female and for male. For female, in order to make a female sexually attracted, the checklist is completely different and involve checking multiple boxes in order to make the female sexually attractive. As a bit of examples, survival aspect, social aspect, authenticity, communication, reproduction aspect, desired by other females, having access to resources, and many, many more. It's a completely different system, and the thing is, in order to make the female sexually attractive, you need to check multiple boxes. If you want me to cover it, I can give you just like the brief what I know about it. But what is most important here is the male part. When it comes to male sexual attraction checklist, all you need to do is just check 1. That's it. We are much simpler in making us aroused. There even is a study that showed the hierarchy of the things that tend to make a man aroused. Number one is youth appearance, which is, for example, the smooth skin, highly facial color contrast, or symmetric features, and there are many more. Another feature, the second, is breasts. The third is buttocks. The fourth one is waist to hip ratio. And the fifth one, as the most attractive sexual body part that males tend to look for when it comes to sexual attraction, is penis. My brothers, I know. So, here is the theory. There is a theory of a sperm competition that also includes people who are straight males. What does this mean? Back in a time, far, far back, in order to increase your chances of survival, one of the aspects meant that you want to keep your bloodline ongoing, which means you want to be the one that mates and have children. This means that when the two primates or people or whatever are mating, one of the things we tend to look at when it comes to the sexual attraction is the other male's private part. The reason is, if you think about it anatomically structured, the penis acts as a shovel, which means that the bigger your private part, the higher chances is that even though this female was mating a few minutes ago with someone else, there is a higher chance, if you have a bigger private part, to take out the genetic material of the previous one and give her yours. That's the benefits of having a bigger private part, which back in the day used to be an evolutionary advantage. Now it has different advantages, but the function is still the same. So, what this means is that even though you are a straight male, your search pool engine when it comes to the pornography genres can even start to include this body part, which tend to get expanded, which means even though you are a straight male, you can start to watch porn that involves females that have very visible and even unnatural body parts, which are female features, female sex features, which also include the private part of a male. There is even one genre that involves this, and even though you are a straight male and you tend to seek these genres, everything is fine. That this is not something that, because it confuses a lot of men I've met, that if I'm a straight or not, because I tend to look at this and so on and so on. So that does not mean you are not straight if you are watching this, if you are including unnatural male private part size into your search pool. So it's fine. Everything is okay. So that's that. Lastly, there is the deviant position, which talks about the genres that tend to be completely different from your default preferences, which in most of the time we talk about hardcore porn. We talk about illegal genres or genres that involve very unnatural sexual scenarios, and most of the time they are exposing and displaying highly aggressive sexual behavior. You don't start watching hardcore porn 5 times per day. You build up to it. You first need to get used to your current frequency and intensity, and over time, once you tolerate this, then you need to increase it. Not because you want to, but because you need to, if you want to keep satisfying your higher demands. So, as long as the perceived benefits of PMO are greater than the perceived cost of paying for it, you will be increasing both intensity and frequency until the perceived costs of watching pornography will be greater than the perceived benefits. The cost can include, for example, problem with reaching climax during a sex, having problems with erection, depression, anxiety, mood swings, worsened memory, worsened focus, lower self-confidence, social isolation, loss of relationships, viewing women as an object of pleasure, not as a human being. So, until the perceived cost, as I mentioned, and many more, won't be perceived as greater as the perceived benefits of keeping the PMO and the addiction in your life, you will be going and increasing your intensity and frequency. My addiction evolution theory is that at the beginning, your PMO sessions have a low frequency and low intensity. But as the need for the higher demand for giving you the dopamine and a relief from the pain is increasing, what happens is that since changing the genres, the intensity can get scary because you are tending to involve new things that you don't find sexually attractive, you would rather go and increase the frequency. In other words, the amount of times you watch pornography. So what do? You tend to keep with the same pool of genres, but you tend to watch pornography more often. This goes until you reach a point where you are risking too much of getting caught, or you watch all of the videos from your current pool of genres. This forces you to increase the dosage, which means increasing the intensity. The way you increase the intensity is that you tend to select new genre that you haven't seen before, but is very close to the things that you are already familiar with. This means that you have added a new genre into your pool of genres, which has additional elements in it, which previously you find even maybe scary or frightening or just maybe not worth it. So, over time, as you have now a bigger search pool, you tend to watch other videos that include the new search genre. As this is going, you start to tolerate the new elements this new genre is involving, thus increasing your pool of genres that you find, that you get used to it, that you tolerate. As the need is still increasing, two things can happen. You will either increase your frequency by finding more time and finding places where you can have more sessions of consuming pornography, or you will further expand your genres and your porn preferences with the new additional genres that can now be even further expanded by the new preferences that you have become to tolerate. This way, you are spending more and more time consuming pornography, and the pool of your genres that you tend to learn to get aroused to tends to increase. This is how you can move from soft porn, watching maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks, to hardcore porn, which is highly aggressive, a lot of the times involve illegal genres that you tend to watch even 5 or more times per day. This is how you move from each chapter to higher ones. As the perceived benefits of keeping pornography in your life as a way to deal with the pain, the discomfort, and the problems that tend to and will appear in life, the intensity will be increasing. You will enter different chapters, which we'll discuss in the next video.